Hello, Lori. How are you today? This thing's going to act up. I'm going to give it a big wallop. Oh. So, how is everybody today? Lori is laughing. She's been laughing at Colleen all day. Of course, we do that most days, right? Now, I'm trying to see if I can get my phone on the Zoom. You're good too? Because I want to show you guys what I've got down here in front of me. Please enter your name. Now we're going to flip that around. No, I want the camera on. All right, so let's see. There's what I've got on my desk today, including the plate from my lunch. Hello, big guy. Hi, Agnes. Colleen. She's here. There's my desktop. So you guys can see what I'm working with here. I've got all my scrappy stuff. And then I'm going to kill that thing because I don't want it on there the whole time. But I'm afraid to touch my camera because if I touch my camera, it's going to go out on us. And that's not cool. President. 29 more, big guy. You're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there. Yay. So some of you guys may have seen my little short that I did about cutting up some scrap fabric into 2.5-inch squares and keeping them in a bin. And my bin is present and accounted for. It's right here. And it's got a bunch of scraps in it. Got something in it that doesn't belong in there. And I've been sewing out of it for a couple of days. More than a couple of days, but just since I've restarted it. It's exclamation command. Hello, Deborah. You could almost see up my nose. So this is what I'm making out of them. And so far I've got 2 or 3 blocks done. Yeah, Nightbot should be on. You're a dupe. Yeah, and all I'm doing is just literally piecing them together 2 by 2 as I go. I don't like that particular fabric, which is why it ended up in the scrap bin, because I can't tell which side is the right side and which side's the wrong side. But I figured I'd have something to do today, so you guys could see me work and believe I actually sew. JC, how are you today, honey? I haven't talked to Tracy in at least a day. But all I'm doing down here is just sewing a few of these together. And I sew them together until I have, 5 or 10 or 20 or something. And then I sew them, the twos, into fours. And I was going to do this in my sewing room today, but the baby lock decided that it wanted to act up. Your cheat sheet is buried beneath several tabs. Well, see how you are? I may have to change my links as well. I think that I pulled links from everybody directly, though. At least I hope I did. Okay, and so now I have 2 stacks of these, and the only reason that they're divided is because I have a lot of this really dark blue in here, and I don't really want dark blue in the same blocks if I can help it. And you guys all probably know this, unprepared we are. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, when I finger press these, I finger press everything to the dark. And then I'm going to make sure that my centers match and that the 2 seams right there in the center nest with one another. I'm not as worried about the outside edges as I am about those seams, because my points need to be right. And I'll worry about those seams whenever I get to joining these 4 patches into the next block. And then a lot of these dark blue have yellow on them, and yellow is in with the light because yellow is my medium color. So I'm going to move those up, and I'm going to use the yellow where I don't have yellow in the dark blue. Hey, I thought I was doing really good at being prepared today, Colleen. I've had all this stuff sitting here for at least 10 minutes. Y'all would have laughed if you'd seen me a few minutes ago, because I was sitting here eating, frantically stacking things up, trying to get them to all look neat and pretty. She may not, big guy. Some people don't follow men on YouTube because their spouses don't like it when they do. So keep that in mind. The royal we. Yeah, Colleen, in her surprise live she did earlier, if you missed it, you should really go check it out. It was fun. She said something about we are working on changing my time because I'm kind of thinking I want to go either to early morning or in the evening. And I have been consulting, is that the right word, Colleen? Consulting with Colleen about the times, because she's my friend, and I wanted her input. So someone who shall remain nameless was like, oh, the royal we, huh? Deborah already gave me an invite. She told me all I got to do is show up and I'll get some of those muffins. So yeah, I was like, that sounds really yummy, doesn't it? She did the walnut ones already, which is probably my favorite. And she's going to put lemon muffins in a few minutes. Yeah, she said that we had to go get them, Sherlock. She won't deliver. Was that a convincing count? And guys, I actually did the unthinkable this morning in my sewing room. Y'all take a deep breath now before I say this. I threw away fabric. Now, in my defense, I threw away fabric that was super old or stretchy or that I was just absolutely 1000% tired of cutting up. I have, can you guys see that pink? There's a cat with a devil hook on there. Yeah, I know, Colleen. I threw away fabric. But I had a sleep shirt that I had made out of that fabric in there. And I made that sleep shirt, I know, when my younger son was like 18, and he's 33 this year, if I'm getting it right. I know. But I was like, nobody's worn that shirt. No, I haven't pulled it out. So I cut a few pieces out of it. I cut out like 10 5-inch squares. And then I tossed the rest. Hello, Sylvia. Okay, now that Sylvia's here, guys, let me tell you, Sylvia is over 600. Colleen is over 600. I am just like, wow. Kelly Cruises and Crafts is over 600. Let's see. Who else? Of the new creators that we all follow. I'm just like, you all rock. The subscribers rock, the creators rock. I'm just absolutely thrilled for everybody. And I'm going to give her a shout out, even though she didn't ask for it. Stephanie is doing a live later this afternoon, and she is going to be celebrating her 10,000th subscriber. You're like a yo-yo. You've been over 600 steadily though, Sylvia, for several days. So you're over 600, honey. You're there. You're there. Hey, Laura Lynn, how are you? I'm celebrating everybody that's gotten over their goal numbers. You're knocking on 30,000. Are you there yet? Yes, content creators supporting each other does help. It really does. But I know that when I was in Laura Lynn's live on the weekend, she said that they were knocking on 30,000, which is awesome. Very close. All right. If you're not subscribed to Mom and Pop, please go subscribe to them. And I'm going to tell you guys, Mom and Pop gave me a huge shout out way back when almost a year ago now, when I was like right at 100 subscribers. And it was so helpful. You guys, they are so generous to do that. But I think make sure if you're gonna go into somebody else's chat that you like follow the rules. Hard work does pay off, but I'm like, when you go in there, don't start advertising yourself. If they want to give you a shout out, they will. And lots of creators are really generous to do that. But you need to give that back too. You need to say thank you. Yeah, big hugs for Mom and Pop because they are so generous to new creators. But when you go in there, don't just go in and say, hey, I'm so and so, I got a channel here. Be, polite. Use your manners, folks. Use your manners. Mom and Pop will give you big hugs if you're nice to them. If you're not, they'll give you a big boot. I hope. Because I can't imagine anyone not being nice to Laura Lynn and Kent and Marcus. They're always just such sweethearts. They're very gracious. And I like to make sure that we give back to our folks. They gave me a huge shout out, helped me a ton. And I'd already been going in there a couple of years. But I really appreciated it because it was really helpful. It really was. And all I'm doing today is I've got my scrap bin that I've been organizing fabric into. And Laura Lynn, you missed it. I was just telling all my peoples that are here that I threw away fabric this morning. Yes, use your manners. Don't just show up to advertise your own channel. Be nice to them. You know, show up, watch their content. I mean, obviously you like them or you wouldn't be there. So this is what I've got so far, just from sewing those few little strips together. And I'll keep piecing them together. You know, I'll sew two together. And then once I have two together, I'll sew them together into big 4 patches and put everything into a quilt top or a table runner or something. Oh, I didn't see Tracy with Craft a Simple Life come in. Hi, Tracy. We got Tracy Albert and Tracy and Laura Lynn. And Laura Lynn, did you hear Stephanie just got to 10,000? She's going to do a live about it later this afternoon. And I'm hoping to be there, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Oh, you're sewing 2.5-inch squares together too. I didn't think about that, Sylvia. I could turn it into a patchwork jacket of some kind, huh? Oh, and then update on the move. I said I wasn't going to talk about it till it was for sure. It's for sure now. We're not moving. The guy came back after dilly-dallying around with us for a couple of weeks. Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? I think they'd make a great jacket. But the guy that was supposed to buy our place has been dilly-dallying for a couple of weeks. And he came back last week with, well, Monday, with a ridiculously low offer for our property and wanted us to carry the mortgage for him. And he was only going to put 30% down. And I was like, we're going to spend that 30% chasing this guy for the rest of this money. So not doing it. So we are, for now, saying no move. That may change down the road, but we've got to look at our options and see what we want to do. We've thought seriously about maybe selling the field across the way because it's the 5-acre part of our farm, and then just keeping the house. But we got to do some serious figuring and conversation on that. And around here, conversations don't happen during the week because we're both working. So we'll sit down on Sunday and figure this out. I think that Mom is in my bot, Colleen. I think she may be in there as Mom, actually. Yeah, they are the best. Mom and Pop, I would actually be interested in that. I don't know that we want 90 acres. I'm kind of thinking that we want a little bit of land, but we want like what we have or less. This is starting to get to be too much for Wayne. So I'd happily stay here until, you know, it's all over, but Wayne is trying to maintain it all and just can't keep up. Oh, have I got him in his Mom and Pop? Okay, I thought I had him in his mom. Sorry. Oh, heck yeah. Well, see, Tracy W., the same things here. We have hurricane issues, but we also live in a trailer, a mobile home. And that's one of the reasons that we kind of wanted to say, and get out of here. But for what he wanted to offer us, he can go away. No, I can't do a tiny house. A tiny house would be taken up on my sewing machine before anything else. And you kind of got to have room for a bed and a place to, rest and watch TV. And Wayne doesn't sew. So I doubt he wants to sit at a sewing machine all day long. I mean, I guess we could put chairs on either side of my Juki sewing table, but it would be kind of uncomfortable when I had a quilt on here for him to sit down and want to eat dinner or work on his hobbies. He likes doing artificial AI art, where you like have a computer create a picture for you. And he's pretty good at it from what I can tell. Well, Deborah, down here, it pretty much stays above 45. The problem is there's those few days or nights a year where it gets below that. And it's even cold. It's super cold at 60 when you're used to 100-degree days. Yeah, we're going to, but we have to figure out what we want to list it for, and we need to do some cleanup work around here before we list it. Because most people who are buying a house in the country don't realize that, they're not sparkly clean like houses in the city. We have, cows outside and goats and all that. Yeah. And I'm not always up to somebody walking through my house. My arthritis, Wayne took yesterday off work because he was having some really bad shoulder pain. It's still hurting him today, but not as bad. But yesterday he literally took meds and went to bed. And that's where he was at most of the day. And when you're in chronic pain, that's really hard to deal with. Found another square that's not square. You don't like Florida? Yeah. I like Florida, but mostly because of who's here, not because it's Florida. You know what I mean? And we don't live in one of the big cities. We're not nightlife people. I'm perfectly happy living, out in the middle of nowhere, except for like somebody was talking about Chinese people or Chinese food earlier, not people. And I was like, oh, that sounds really good for dinner. It's a 45-minute drive to town to go get Chinese food. So we won't be doing that till the weekend. Trying to make sure I got one piece of fabric there. And I'm just sewing away while we chit chat, guys. You're rejigging your asthma meds. Oh no, Sylvia, that is not good. Yes, it's good evening for Lynn. And I was all set, had my mind all set on Toledo. And if we move, that's still where we're going, is Toledo, to go live near the kid. Because, that's where I'd like to be. I'd like to spend my whatever time I got left around my kid. Like Laura Lynn said, I like my kid. That's why I had kids. Wasn't because I didn't like them. So, getting to spend some time with him would be nice. Especially since I've never spent a lot of time around his wife. Yeah. Well, crazy weather. And there are a lot of unusual people down here, Deborah. I'll put it that way. Florida man is a real thing. Oh, yeah. Well, and with the economy anymore, Laura Lynn, I mean, who can afford to buy a place? Plus, he's your only kid. And at some point, when you guys are gone, it will probably be his anyway. And I think you've got a big enough house that you have privacy for everybody. You know, he can have his space and be a grown man, and you can have your space and be grown-ups. And when, you know, you guys need assistance, he's there to do it. Plus, with, you know, if Wayne was gone a lot like Kent seems to be, and I'm supposing, but if Wayne was gone a lot, I would want someone else here with me too. I mean, right, the whole basement plus another level. Yeah, that's great. You know, and if and when he gets married and has kids, he can, you know, they've got enough room to maneuver around. That was one of the things are talking about with my son. Is, you know, we want a space that's big enough for all of us, even if they don't move in with us right away, you know, like next year or whatever. We want a space that's big enough so that if we get to a point where we need more care, there's room for them or one of the other kids to come and stay if that's what's necessary and still have some privacy. And it's realistic thought for us just because Wayne had a stroke in 2020 or the end of 2021. And my RA is not getting better. It's progressive. It will get worse. So it is entirely possible that I will need a wheelchair and more assistance as I get older. So we're trying to plan for that. So I can see the reasoning behind, you know, the adult kids staying home. It used to be that was the way it went anyway. You know, the adult kids stayed home with mom and dad until they got married, or they never moved out at all. So, you know, one of my aunts lived with my grandma until she passed. And now one of her daughters lives with her. She didn't inherit grandma's house because grandma didn't own one, but her daughter moved in with her. And I think that together they went in and bought a house. And that was after her daughter watched her house float down the creek. She was like, I was just surprised at how long it held together. And I had to laugh because only my cousin Pam would be like that. She's always looking for the good side of stuff. But yeah, that's the update on our move. We still want to move, but we've got to figure out the details of it before that happens. Yeah, osteoarthritis. I have RA and OA. Sometimes I'm not sure which Arthur it is that's causing problems. Deborah, you're killing me with those muffins now. They sound really good. And they sound even better because they're fresh out of the oven. Any baked good is always better when you first take it out of the oven and it's just barely cooled off enough to eat. I used to make bread every week. Oh yeah, it's not far off at all, Laura Lynn. It's not far off at all because, you know, I've already outlived both my parents. So I do realize that life is short and fleeting. And basically, because of my birthmark is part of something else. Yeah, I'm holding my plate out too. They've been telling me since I was a little kid that I wasn't going to live very long. So I told my mom I wouldn't make it to 10, then it was 16, then it was 20, don't have kids. Then they told me, no, not 30, not 40, not 50. Here I am at 56 going, okay, guys, I guess I'm going to live a while. So let's hang out. So yeah, I'm definitely aware. And I really want to be able to live closer to the kids. Not only mine, but Wayne's got 6 grandchildren in Flint, up near where Sherlock So lives. And I've got a whole host of cousins and stuff in Kentucky. Big guy. I don't think that that's the right way to do that as far as getting new subscribers. So I'm going to ask you to stop. If they want to follow, they will. And we've given you several shout outs, so please don't. I don't want my subscribers to feel like they're going to get accosted whenever they come into my chat. I don't think that's what you're doing, but it could be read that way. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. But anyway, so we want to move up near the kids as soon as we can, if possible. And lemon muffins do sound yummy, don't they? Yum, yum. Deborah was making walnut muffins earlier, and that caught my attention because I love walnuts, especially baked into almost anything. Baked into banana bread. You can eat them with, oh, I can eat just by themselves. Cashews, those are probably my absolute favorite. And Miss Laura Lynn is allergic to nuts, so I probably need to find something else for us to talk about besides that. Yeah. Don't like snow bananas and walnut. Yeah, that's what it was the bananas and the walnuts. I if I'm in my sewing room and just okay, Laura Lynn, you have a great day. I hope that Kent had a good trip. And I know you'll be happy to have your hubby back home with you. I would be. I don't like mine being gone either. Yes, please drive safely. Colleen put up pictures of the snow yesterday, and I was just sitting here going, "Burr, it's so pretty." But I'm looking at it from Florida on a screen. I'm not dealing with the wind and the cold and everything. Yeah, I'm glad he's coming home too. I know she's always happy when he comes back home. It's a good thing they like each other, huh? Aw, I'm sorry he's had a rough trip. That's never fun. That's when working is, ugh, that's no fun at all. So then I'm sewing my twos together into fours, trying to avoid putting the same fabric in any one of the four squares. And then just put them together. Big hugs to you too, Mom. You have a great day. Love you too. All right. And then when I put these together, short on this, and I kept saying light touching the dark, but I wasn't sure that that was clear enough for anybody. So I want to make sure if you see it here, I've got the yellow is my darker color, and see there's light and dark touching. That's how I want to do it. And then when after I put the twos together, then I'm going to take a pair of twos and a pair of fours, and I have to lay it out so I get it right here. I did that one upside down, or I'm holding that one upside down. I'm not sure which. I know. I saw that. I'm really glad that Lori messaged me and said, "Hey, guess who's live?" I was like, "Oh man." All right. And then I'm just going to put these together in twos. So I'm putting two twos together to make a four. Does that make sense? And I have to tell you guys, Sylvia is spreading the FPP bug all over the place. And I tried it off camera, guys. Thank goodness it was off camera. Because I was like, that's interesting. I'm not good at it. Not good at it at all. So there's that one put together. So I've got three of these now. Four of these together would make a center for a table runner. 6 or 8 of them would make a baby quilt, and you just keep going from there. And if you have a lot of scraps, like I have a lot of leftover jelly roll strips. We got to do a Zoom and catch me up with it. Yeah, probably Sylvia. I was looking at the one you sent me, the sewing lady, and it didn't make any sense to me. So I may have to talk to you about that one off camera. She sent me one that doesn't have any directions with it. And that's not Sylvia's fault. It was somebody else's. Okay, no problem, Lynn. My brain just went, doop. I lost it. Yeah, we haven't done the quilting bee yet this month. We need to talk about that too. Anyway, Sylvia sent me one that was somebody else's pattern. And I thought, oh, that looks easy enough. Because, when I looked at the picture, I was like, that makes sense. And then when I sat down to actually do it, I was looking and going, I turned it upside down and around in circles. It never made sense to me. It really didn't. So I don't know who I talked to. Not sure if I talked to Tracy or Lori, but whoever I talked to was like, I don't get it either. Because it was Colleen. I was thinking, okay, I can do this just like this. It didn't work. So yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Sylvia about that one again. You oiled your featherweight and looked at the maintenance records and saw it's time to oil the motor. I have that kind of grease too for the motors. I had to get it for Jane for my 1966 Singer that I have over there. And it actually comes in a tube now. It was like, really? Sylvia, I think I understand the general concept, but I think that it's numbered for colors and not for the order things go in. I think that's what was confusing my brain. Because it should make sense. I've watched you teach a couple of people now. The flying geese is a great beginner FPP. I don't make flying geese FPP. It was hide and seek at Super Step 1. That's too funny, Colleen. Yeah. Yeah, most of my subscribers don't make video content. If they do, I've pretty much got them in my bot and I feature them. But she doesn't. Deborah doesn't that I know of. She puts some pictures up in my Facebook group, and she's really good at a whole lot of different stuff. But Deborah, I think you were the one who had all of your stuff in. It was packed up for a long time, almost 2 years. Is that right? Um, I think so, probably. Sylvia does have a flying geese pattern. I actually was looking at some of her patterns the other day, and I'm in here. I was gonna actually work in my sewing, and I wasn't holding my mouth right or something, but I popped the plastic piece off the top. Um, I broke a bobbin. Sorry, I have to answer my kid. I broke a bobbin. I was disconnected from chat. Oh, yeah, it was a year and a half. I knew it was a while. I knew it was a while that you were boxed up. So you're still trying to get everything put together. But my baby lock, everything under the sun went wrong. And then I finally got the bobbin wound, put in the machine rethreaded, started sewing the little two patches together, and my tension was completely gone. And I just looked at the jazz and I said, you know what? You're going in timeout. Thank God that I have another machine. So I came out here to work on what I had been doing in there on the baby lock jazz. It's a really simple machine too, just like this one. And it's a mechanical, so there's not lots of things that can go wrong. But this morning, everything that could go wrong with that machine went wrong. So yeah, I was like, this is getting old. And so I moved out here and we will deal with this on this machine. And then after the live, if I feel up to it, I will go in there and I will give the baby lock a thorough clean out and everything. So yeah, I just been a very frustrating day. So yeah, we'll deal with that. And let's see, what else am I working on here? Working on the box. I'm trying to get, actually, this is down a good bit from when I put everything together the other day. And what I do with these in between while I'm still sewing is I just store them inside the box for so that I know where they're all at. Once I get a bunch of those blocks put together, like maybe 10 or 20 blocks, then they'll get their own storage spot. But that's not going to happen until I have a bunch of them, because then by then hopefully I'll have more fabric going in there, and these will be, too bulky in the box. And at some point, these are going to turn into a quilt of some kind, or maybe a quilted jacket, because I really like that idea. Maybe it might be a robe for me, so I wouldn't put batting in it, but I think that's a great idea. I have sewn a lot together, Sylvia. I really have. And the 2.5 inch square is a good size for me because a lot of the blocks that I make require 2.5 inch pieces of fabric. And so, it's nice to know where they're all at. I'm not one of those people who wants to store everything as 2.5 inch, 5 inch, 10 inch, whatever. But I am trying to make some organizational changes because January is the organization month for me, and I am still working on that. And I'm trying to get everything put together so that I can work with it more easily. So instead of I have to go dig up 43 different kinds of fabric, I can just pick up the bin and sew for a bit and then put it back. Because some days I want to sew, but I don't have the capability of using the cutter, even though I use a martelli and it's easier on my hands. Some days I can run fabric under the machine, but I can't use my hands to cut fabric. So I figure the days that I'm having good days, let's go ahead and cut what we can and get that done. Plus, it's letting me get some of that scrap fabric, that older fabric that I've got in there, out of the way. And I saw somebody the other day, the title of the video was "This is the year of the," I don't even remember what it was, the quilt or something. And I thought I should call this the year of the scrap. A Bilbo Boggins robe. I saw the thumbnail for that, I think. Tracy? I think I saw the thumbnail for that. But anyway, so I'm like, let me get some of this fabric worked through, and then I need to go through the fabric that I have in my other room that's, on that big shelf. And I need to decide if I'm going to use that fabric or if I'm not. And if I'm not, then it needs to go away. So that may be some things that we do on lives as the year progresses, is I may pull recover. Yeah, recover is a big word, Tracy. And I'm glad you're giving yourself time to do it, because you had a big surgery. I think you told me what it was. And if I'm right, it's a very big surgery. But you're already starting to recover from it and feeling a little better. Yeah, I may have seen that one, Tracy. I may have seen that. But yeah, so this may be the year of the scrap. And while I'm doing things, I'll pull out a bin and go through it and decide whether we're going to keep that fabric. Because I have a bunch of chiffon in there. And I bought that back when I was still working and I needed like a little, this is Florida, it's hot. So wearing a blazer all the time isn't great. But those little chiffon drapey tops that you can put over a t-shirt really dress up an outfit. So I used to wear those all the time. I don't wear them anymore. I mean, maybe I will if I ever go get another job, but from what I've been told about where my RA is going, that's probably not going to happen. So it's time to pass that fabric on to somebody who can use it. Okay, you're done. Big guy, I'm sorry. That's just not cool. I'm sorry, it's just not cool. Yeah, and Tracy, that makes a big difference. It really does. It really does. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm not really trying to be mean to anybody there, but I don't think that it's appropriate to be asking people if they're subscribed to you or not, that kind of thing during my live. I don't think it's appropriate to do it during anybody else's live either. And I think that I gave adequate warning on that. And I think it's time for that to be over. So my apologies that it happened. And thank you, Mods, for taking care of it. Now, Big Guy can come back if he doesn't do that to anybody else. But yeah, respect your host. It really is appropriate. But that's not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. And I'm the host, so I get to decide what's acceptable in my chat. Oh, you just cut loads of stuff to try her flying geese pattern. That's great. And Tracy, I am glad that you're able to focus for longer. That's a big, huge thing. And I think sometimes we don't realize how long it does take to recover from things. We think, oh, I'm fine, that's like me after my surgery. It took me quite a while to start feeling like I was getting back to normal. Now, is she going to go on at 3? Is that what time Steph is starting? Does anybody? I hadn't looked. because I knew I was coming on it too, and I was trying to get everything ready for this. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that announcement. I'm happy for Steph, and I want to be there. So I'm gonna end this. If she's starting at 3, I'm gonna go ahead and end now. Give everybody a minute to go grab a snack and a drink and hit the little girls' room or boys' room in case there's a boy lurking at 3 Eastern. Okay, then it's not really cutting me short anyway. Yeah, it does take a while to recover because I normally only go for an hour anyway. So stopping a few minutes early isn't a big deal. I'm going to be at Steph's, obviously, because I want to see what the announcement is. I'm happy for her. Let me say this the right way. I'm thrilled for Stephanie. I am absolutely thrilled that she hit 10,000 subscribers. Yeah, new cup of coffee, get some ice in your drink, go to the little girl's room, let the dog out and back in, whatever you got to do. And I will see you guys at Super Stuffs in just a few minutes. I love you guys. Thank you for coming. Mwah! Have a great day and big hugs. Bye, guys. Give you guys a minute or so to say bye to each other if you need to. She does support us all, Sylvia. And I definitely like to give that support back. Yeah. Bye, Laura Lynn.